sure appreciate, the opportunity to do some of this. When this was first presented to me a year ago, we discussed different Halloween systems. Obviously, I'm very familiar with one. I have turned with others. I want to start with Tom Sampson. Tom brought in the elbow. The elbow is the newest addition to the line for Tim Yoder. Tim Yoder bought the company, I'm going to guess maybe 6 or 8 months ago, and is starting to sell this.
All right. So this is an articulated hollowing system. I really haven't hollowed much myself, and I just wanted something simple, and this seemed to fit the bill to me. This clamps onto the tailstock, so your quill, and then this part here sits on your tool rest, and then it just articulates out, and so all you got to do is just go like this. So this part is always stationed on your quill, and then you can go in and out like that. So I've used it a couple times, and it seems very nice and simple to use. You can go out maybe, I got it wrong. So your reach is, probably typical for a bar that big, 8 to 10 inches. I had it out to maybe a foot, and it was jumping around quite a bit. And it's got a simple laser on it. You can go up and down and rotate it. Turns on right there. So, that. So, pretty simple.
Nice part about that is it fits in the quill, so you can go lathe to lathe.
And I was kind of worried about, was this really going to clamp? Was it going to mar up my quill? And I haven't really noticed that yet. So, most of that pressure is directed right on your tool race.
What's a system like that, Ron?
This was, I believe, around 250 with the laser, yeah.
Well, ain't bad.
So not bad as far as costs go to housing systems. It's got a little bit of plating, just so it can move around, but really it's not bad because, again, once you get to where you want it, that connection with your tool rest is where
That's where your torque and
where you're
pressure
going to
is.
feel the torque in, yeah.
Nothing you couldn't re-engineer, George.
That's a fact.
George, you can really make one of these in a couple hours. I have a homemade one where just so I don't bang up my tool rest, so I just have a round drill rod and a post. Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay, we've also got the monster hollowing system.
Jeff?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Would you be willing to, have somebody over and try it at your place?
Oh, you bet, yeah.
Because I think that would be a great thing.
Yeah,
To actually try to do something.
What's
maybe we can set up
it's called the Elbow, and it's Tim Yoder. I don't remember the guy who actually designed it, but Tim Yoder bought it, now he's selling it.
Yeah, no, that was not on the page I sent out. There are so many Halloween systems out there right now to cover the whole gamut. It'd be an encyclopedia. I wasn't terribly familiar with this. I did know that Tim had bought the company, but no, it's not on my list that I did a comparison. So, Mark brought in the Monster, which again is an articulating.
I bought this because sometimes I take a break from doing the handheld one that I did a couple months ago. This is the same system as that Yoder, except for this is lathe specific because they make this base to fit on your bedways, and it clamps down. And I think that's about the only difference from the Yoder one. Except for I think this does have a laser that fits in it like the Yoder one. I don't know if the reach is the same. I can get up to about 8.5 inches when it starts. What do you get, Ray, on yours?
2 foot.
You have the same thing?
I have a bigger bar.
Okay, all right.
So they have different size bars you get with
Yeah,
it?
I got, it's either an inch or inch and a half bar that allows me to go significantly deeper.
Okay. And does it go in the regular base?
Yeah.
Like my base? See, I didn't know that, and maybe it came out later.
And the outdoor bar up to 20 inches.
Okay. But the same as the Yoder, this goes on the tool rest, and it does work nice, I'll have to say. I just like the handheld one, so. I think the price of this, I looked online before I came, I think it runs $539, but it's monster lathe.
How much was it, Mark?
I think it was $539.
I think it's on my list. Yeah, the standard is 523.
Okay. And it comes with some cutting bits with that price, in this bar and a couple other things, but I don't remember what it was exactly. But yeah, it's a little pricey, but it's sturdy, I can tell you that. You tighten this down pretty well, and it doesn't vibrate much at all. It's kind of a smooth piece. So anyway, but I did that demo a couple months ago with this, the handheld, so I was balancing this a little bit. I can get in 8 inches with this.
Right-handed.
Yeah, it's right-handed. Mark works left-handed, as you can tell. I just like the feel of this, like you said, but anyhow, it does do a number on you for a while if you make one every day, but anyhow, it goes in and it works. So. And I can go on the, well, you can bring this motor down, a 3520, you can bring the
All the way to
motor
the
down,
end.
and when you're out on the, Jeff Grill, have you done one on the end of yours yet? You told me to keep reminding you to do a turn on the outboard side. When you're on the outboard side, you can get way over here instead of leaning over your lathe, and it's so much easier. So, you have this system. So. Anyhow.
What does that cost as a handle?
Oh, this whole, you buy the handle, this bar, cutting tips. Somebody help me from, I think it was about $250.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's about right.
And that goes on, this goes on the tool rest too. You gotta have the tool rest here and work in, so. Any questions?
Those articulated systems, is there ever a problem with your fingers getting in the way when you're swinging that in and out, pinching or anything like that? Because it doesn't look like there's much to hold on to in the end.
Well, I hold the bar in the front there. Ray, have you ever
It's
pinched
like
your
2
fingers?
fingers. I mean, it doesn't take, it just doesn't take much. I mean, yeah.
No, I'm just curious, because I see that thing bending and
Like your elbow.
I'm real good at getting my fingers caught and stuff.
Your elbow is where all those bends are at.
Oh, okay.
I do mine with just, 2 fingers. I mean,
All right. Okay.
Okay, when you,
Jameson, the other show.
oh yeah, he's got the Jameson captive system. It's a D-handle captive. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's 2 pieces. This sits on the back of the lathe. Using the other hand, And then this is the actual D-shaped bar, and basically it runs on here, inside this, slides back and forth, and sits on your tool rest. So then you slide it inside, get inside there. It's got several tips on it. That's the tip it came with. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah. Yeah, I made some alterations. This thing sticks out so far, and you can't hollow something this deep with this thing. This is probably as deep as you can hollow with this system. And then this vibrates so much that it ruins the laser, ruins those things. I mean, I bought 2 of them and finally gave up, and I replaced this with just a DC laser. It's just got 2 wires coming out, and I don't have a problem anymore. I have a camera system, and all this is powered from one 12-volt little generator, so harness is hanging from my ceiling, so when I set this up, I just...
What I'm going to do is show you some of the things that I hollow. Since being picked up by Carter, I've done tremendous amount of hollowing. The whole system, I got the system before it went on market, So I can do something as small as this through a very small opening. This is not the smallest opening I can go through. I can go through as small as 3/8 of an inch and continue to do small hollow pieces. Then I can move up in size to something a little bigger. I hope Fred's got good hands this morning. This piece I did last week.
Don't throw that one.
No, that one will not get thrown, okay? I can promise you that. That was a lot of fun to do. They are obviously separate pieces of wood. I left a tenon on the bottom here, so it goes into the pine and it allows it to set up. It gave me great shape, great form and great shape. Then I also did something small like this that I used a hollowing system for. Yeah, it's a bowl. I could have used a bowl gouge. I won't throw this one either, Fred. If you take a look at the thin lines in there, those thin lines are copper and brass powder that I put in there. That's with 2-part epoxy in the powders. And then I moved up to something like this. These are all relatively recent pieces. They will go to the gallery soon. That is a figured maple piece. These are all done so far with the small hollower. This one I wood burned while I was in Arizona. Now we had a very famous wood turner pass away last week, Liam Flynn. He's from Ireland. Had a great time with him at the AAW Atlanta. Liam was only 48 years old, is highly recognized in Ireland, has many, many pieces in museums there. So we issued a challenge on Facebook to do a Liam Flynn. That's one of my pieces. I've got another piece in work that is similar to his. That one I just really love. That piece of wood I bought at the retreat last year. John came in, John's not here, is he? And offered up some pieces. This looks so ugly. I only paid him, I bought 5 of these big pieces for 35 bucks. They were dry, they were cracked. They were just absolutely horrible. Stunning pieces. I can't wait to attack the others. Okay. That is nothing but a bunch of weeds that are simply put on a piece of wood. They're wood burned. It was removed from one of the forums because of its nudity. But on the other 4 forums, nobody saw the nude forum. You can tell where his mind is, okay? But yeah, it was removed from the forum. I got some nasty emails, but it will be entered in some of the regionals, one of them. So that's kind of the turnings I do. Obviously, they're all done with the Carter system, and we'll go through a quick review of the system. The reason I'm moving this, we are on live Facebook. It will be recorded and posted to Facebook.
Ron,
Yes.
what do you mean by nudity? Seriously. Wow, what do you mean?
I'll show you. I'll show you. And you know, the best way to.
I don't mean under the kilt.
This is what helps the bottom of the kilt. Can you focus in on that, Doug? Does that help you with the nudity? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see here the female form? Right there.
So they caught that?
They caught that, yes. There's the navel. Okay, here's the navel, and then you got the pubic hair. Okay, and that was done by design. That was not an accident. This was happened to be a piece of the drawing was on Facebook, and I thought, wow, I can do that. To go to the deep one, as I did there, Carter has a larger bar. I think this is a 1-incher. I could probably go up to 15, 16 inches. If I go that big, I go to the XL, which is in the literature that was sent out to you all via email. The XL is an 1.25 inch bar, 6 foot long, weighs about 70 pounds. My limitation on turning deep on that is my lathe. I'm on 35-20, I can only turn about 25, 27 inches. You got a headstock and a tailstock you have to have there. So I'm limited. Another turner just bought one this week. He's making some museum quality stuff. He's been commissioned and he's going up to 36 inches in both directions, deep and wide. Yeah, I wasn't given his name yet. As soon as I do, I'll send you an email and show you his work. This will allow me though to go to the deeper sections. Yeah.
With the XL, what is the difference between the XL and the D handle? Or are they essentially the same, just a large?
It's a captive system. They are the same. Okay, this one runs between two a roller and a bar. That's your torque arrestor. Okay, and that sits out here, 3 feet past. I have it's a 10-foot section of my shop it takes up when I do that. There's a stand out there that holds the roller and the handle, the D handle that goes back to it. Basic difference of size. 80-pound bar, 70-pound bar versus a 1.5 pound bar. Okay, use the same cutter. We'll go through the cutter shortly. The standard system comes with the smaller bar as we have here. And I don't have this set up for the small bar. I don't use it anymore. This would collapse down so it wouldn't flop back and forth. You adjust your rollers and you hollow. This happens to have the laser system on it, which I don't use much anymore. I found the camera. I love the camera. I would encourage you all to, if you want to come out, try the camera. And this is the camera system. And this is the latest bar they have. This is a multi-tip bar. There are some people that are copying this bar right now, and we'll be coming out with it, the AAW.
What does the camera tell you about wall thickness? How does that work?
About what, I'm sorry?
Wall thickness. I mean, I know how the laser works. The laser works great for...
This works the same way, but now I see my whole cutter. I'll show you. With the laser, you got this fine point out there, right? 1 point. That's where your cutter is. Now, if I'm coming up the side of this piece, my cutter angle changes as I come up the curve, right? Yeah, so you're constantly changing your laser point.
Right.
If you're not, or you're just supposed to, okay? And what happens in many cases, you, through muscle memory, you start to realize, I'm just going to follow the curve. So most of the time, I don't use either. It's when I get close. I'm going to take this out of here. And Doug, if you can put that on the big screen. It's on the screen?
Yeah.
Now what I'm going to do, now you can see the cutter on the screen. Okay? I'll change my angle here.
So is that bar flat then?
Flat on the bottom.
Flat on the bottom. Part of your torque arrestor.
The torque arrestor.
Okay? So this is flat. I got a hole up here. I have this is the bar that goes in. This holds my tool. This fits into a roll pin, which again absorbs the torque. The slot is for my set screw. And with one set screw, I can continue to change any cutting tool I want. Now, This particular cutting tool is the square bar. It's tipped at roughly 18 degrees. It is for a pull cut only. The round bar, I don't have it tipped nearly as much. Now the geometry allows me to do a push as well as a pull cut. So now as I get my muscle memory going, I'm going both directions, okay? Muscle memory gets better. Now I get thinner, okay? I also do a tremendous amount of work with the teardrop. Now this is 17% titanium. When it comes from the factory, it's sharper than a carbide. It's just unbelievable. You can still take it over to the grinder and put another edge on it, and it's sharp. I don't put an edge on this very often, and I had Tom Sampson did a negative rake for me. So here's a negative rake scraper. These are just fantastic to cut with.
Is that your final cut with a negative rake?
My final cut inside is with the negative rake. And the nice part is, if I'm coming down this curved surface, I can follow the surface. I can feel the highs and lows. And I might take something out of here and something out of here. That's going to be my high spots, right? Now I tend to smooth the inside. Now, some pieces I work harder at the inside than others because they're more open. Okay, so you put more time into these. This one I think I got pretty decent. This is fairly thick. I don't turn thin. If you want to show off, you turn thin. You turn thin to impress other wood turners. I've never seen anybody at a gallery, and I go to a lot of galleries, pick up a piece and say, oh, that's too thick. Okay? Now they might say it's too heavy. I'm surprised how heavy it is. Let the surprise be that it's light, not heavy. Okay? This is typically my method for doing this. Okay? Is I'm going to start, I guess we're too close for that. I'm going to first get my basic shape. And shape with this stuff is everything. Okay? I could have taken that beautiful piece of quilted maple, either one of those, and absolutely butchered them if the shape is wrong. The shape on this little piece, I think I nailed. I really love that piece. There's 4 more of those in production now. So you start, you drill your hole. You got your shape, you drill a hole. You need a place to start from, just to work your tool and to work your bit. So you can see I drilled to the bottom. Okay, we got enough light on it? Yeah, you can see. Drilled close to where I thought the bottom was, or where I wanted it to be. And I would even bring this down narrower and smaller. I love small feet. And then I start my hollowing process. And you start doing the curve. You start with making some room because you're going to fill this slot up with shavings. And you can't cut shavings. When this starts to build up, nothing will knock you off center any faster than all the shavings. So you got to blow it out. You got to have to keep it clean. And then after you've gotten that far, you start to work your way down. And I think you can see in this piece, I'm a little heavy up here. I know that you all are going to reach inside, stick your finger in there. One of these times they're going to put peanut butter in there. It's going to look like something else. But I am a little thicker here, okay? That's no big deal. You are going to stick your finger in. I need to be relatively smooth to the point where people get their finger in. All right, but again, in a gallery, it doesn't happen. I'm just telling you it doesn't. Now this one, I didn't clean it up. It started to crack on me, so I thought, I'm going to cut it in 2, and I can use it for demos like this. All right? Now, that's the process. Now,
Where do you get those teardrop cutters? Where do you get those cutters from teardrop?
from now on, you don't have to ask. It's Carter. Yeah. They have developed those several years back, especially with the titanium. okay? And the edge on it is just incredible. So let's go back to where we were. This is my cutter, right here, okay? Now these are India ink. They're kind of water soluble. I can easily, if you use a Sharpie, they're alcohol. So that means you have to carry denatured alcohol with you to wipe it off, okay? Now I'm just going to take a guess at what I want my wall thickness. Now much of the time, you probably can't see that even, can you?
No. Move it to a lighter spot on the...
You'll see it in a minute.
Is that actual size or is it blown up?
It's blown up, obviously. I mean, you can see that's the size of the cutter in actuality, okay? So it is blown up. This camera comes with 2 different lenses, which would allow me to take a different view. I am running this a little loose today. And if you notice, the finish on this is plastic wrap, okay? I shrink wrap all of my pieces after I've formed them, and I've got a good shape on them. I have them pretty well sanded and finished outside. I don't want them to change shape. I don't want them to give up that moisture. As it gives up its moisture, it changes shape, and I can't hollow. I can't go as thin hollowing. At home, I would probably have this running around 2,000 RPM. And now I'm still starting to work my way in. Now, you can see, here's my cutter. There is the edge I want to come to. So I can pretty much bury this in. I'm actually inside my cutter range here. This is a lot like watching paint dry. But this is pretty much the way I would work with these. And now I'm following the edge. Come back. I can tell by the sound as I come out. Hear the chirp? That's thinness. That's the wood getting thin. And you kind of listen from that. You can see I move my right hand, push the bar over so I can continue to follow the curve. Most of the time I don't pay much attention to the TV until I really want to get to a wall thickness. Now you can see here is my wall thickness, or my outside edge of the vase. I probably should have some light on that shit. But now I got to come back, I got to create some more work run, okay? And my tool moved on me, hang on. I hit it so tight earlier, I couldn't loosen it, but it did move. Now, I'll show you also, change cutters. Is that too much?
How's that camera? I don't understand. So, the circle is the distance you want, and then you put your wood gets up to that circle?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. If you look here, let me put this in a decent position. Bear with me. There we go. Now, the distance from here to here is the thickness of the wood. The distance from here, that's the cutter, to here is my goal for my wall thickness.
Right. And it's in all directions that way too.
Yeah. Now, as I get to the, let's say I was doing, well, like this sharper edge on this one, okay?
The bottom, the side, it's all the same.
As I'm coming through this curve, okay, I start to, my cutting is through here. Now, if I have a laser on here, I set it to go from to here, right? But as I get to here, I'm cutting on the side, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that. The laser's not telling me that because I got it set for the top. You got to keep changing. I don't change nothing here. The only thing I do is change my angle of approach and cut like hell.
What's that camera cost?
embarrassing. $10. I didn't stutter. I didn't stutter. I'll be selling these for $100, he says. I've got another camera and another Halloween system that we developed in Tucson this year. It's for miniatures. I didn't bring one. I didn't bring the system. I didn't want to confuse things. It has a drone camera on it, much smaller camera. I've got a drone camera ordered so that I can use it on this system.
So does that go directly to a monitor, or you gotta have a computer in between?
No, it goes directly to the monitor.
Really?
Yeah, I'm wired through here, okay? I have to have electric to the camera, and then I got a video out.
My laser just went out, and I'm not gonna replace it now.
I wouldn't either, okay? Yes, sir.
How do you fly the drone inside the hollow point?
That's for that 36-inch diameter piece.
Now they do make the drone spawn up where you can fly them.
Yeah.
You get a camera and like a demo, so just have it, where they normally mount a camera up overhead and switch it back and forth.
Yes.
Do that?
Yes. I don't have a switching apparatus. I'm looking at buying one. I may be on a panel at the AAW, for things like Facebook Live, which we're doing right now. And I need a switching cameras. You could do that.
Do you have
You
a
could.
parts list for the camera?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a parts list for the camera?
Not as of yet. I'm working with another guy and we're putting this together. And yeah, the drone camera's about $40. These are nice because vibration doesn't bother the drone and or the security camera, okay? The problem with the security camera is you have to match your voltage to your little converter, okay? And the two systems I have now, the drone and this, the voltage is totally different. If I was to plug in the drone voltage into this camera, I'd burn it up. Now, the real problem I had with the whole camera system when I was out west, I turned in the Sonoran Desert. We camped, and I set up a tent, right? It's one of the nice tents with all white, But hell, the sun's blaring right through. I can't see the TV. And now I got too much light. And I really had I struggled with it because we were testing several cameras out there.
You could build a building out there for you.
Well, I may do exactly like you did, Jim. I may cash out and get a park model.
Permanent spot,
Yeah. So what we're gonna do now, and here's another nice thing, okay? As I'm coming down the wall and I want to change my angle, all I do is pick this up and I move it.
Yeah.
Okay, now you see what happened? My wall to the thickness stayed the same. I didn't have to redraw it, did I?
Exactly.
Okay? Some guys want to cover the whole page, right? They cover the whole face of the thing, and then they take it off, they move their cutter, and they redraw it. Well, your wall thickness might not be the same then.
Great.
So this made it really pretty slick.
Yeah.
This is a teardrop. This is by far my favorite cutter. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to draw the cutter.
That's like cheating,
It is cheap, and it makes production work out of hollow. I mean, it's made it a lot of fun. My mistakes are much less. So now, I've got the cutter on there. How do I find the same wall thickness? Now I'm going to come back to here. And if I want it to be as thick as what I am now, because I'm not going to do a lot more turning, this becomes my wall thickness right there. Okay? So now I draw my arc all the way around, which I'm going to get it on the screen.
Doug, could you zoom in on that?
So now, I've matched my wall thickness. See where it goes down through here? Now see, I'm away there, I'm terribly thick. So what I'm going to do now is I'll hog that away. Now I'm trying to follow the curve probably do this piece in about 15 to 20 minutes of serious turning.
Well, that's a whole lot more accurate than a laser, really.
Absolutely.
Like a laser,
I have one point right there.
that's right.
Okay, now as I come down through here, I might be cutting here and my laser's here.
Yeah, but it got elongates, it's on your form too, though.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't, it ain't just one point on there.
Especially if you have a quick turn to the outside diameter.
Well, especially when you have, yes, an abrupt shoulder.
Up shoulder, yeah.
Now, I turned a piece that was very abrupt in Tucson. It was nice. And as I came to this almost right angle, I knew where my cutter was all the time. Now, there's one other camera out there. It's a GoPro. It is the latest GoPro only. It's, I think, the Black 5. Does that sound right, Doug? I think so, yeah. It's the only camera of the GoPro line you can use. The others have what's called a latency problem. And that's a delay from here to the screen because it's wireless, okay? That's a huge advantage, but yet, as you can see, I'm not threatened by these wires in any way. It's a nice wireless system. You can connect it to a phone, you can connect it to an iPad, almost anything that's Bluetooth compatible. But you're investing $300 in the camera?
Yeah, those are, I don't have.
They're pricey, okay? They're dustproof, they're waterproof, they're pretty much indestructible. But that's a lot of money. I don't have $50 in the whole setup. Yes, sir?
So did that camera hook right up to your regular laser system?
No. I got a reject. Okay, their Carter screwed up, and I said, I could really use one of these. It did not have the pocket for the batteries. So they gave me this one, knowing full well what I was doing with it, fed my wires up through, then had come down here, soldered my wires back together, I took the connectors out, and then hardwired it, which I'm not sure I'm going to stay with that. I may want to disconnect it. It makes it a little hard to transport back and forth with 6 foot of wire.
You'd have to actually build your own
It's
bar.
tubing, they can tubing and bend it. Now, the other thing is this little device here that holds it, okay? This slides in and out. I didn't really move the camera around. There are times, depending on what you're turning, you may move the camera out, you may move the camera in, you may move it side to side. And that's what you do with this. Sounds like I've piqued some interest. Yeah, I mean, yes.
Where do you find one of these $10 cameras?
I don't know right now.
Have you got one? You must.
I have a friend.
They're $100.
I'm working on so many things with this one guy. He won't give me his source yet. Actually, both of these guys, Jim Beeman I know really well. Jim did the first retreat with the pop-top boxes. He's not given me his drone cameras yet either. I can find those. I was on Alibaba the other day. That's the Amazon of China. The drone camera I think I can get for less than 10.
Is the drone camera wireless too?
No.
It's not?
No, it's wired. It goes to a battery.
It goes, okay.
Goes to a battery, okay? And with the drone camera, with the drones, they have a SIMS card in them. They record those SIMS cards, you pull the SIMS card, and then you load it to your computer. So no, it is not a wireless, okay?
Ron, what is the GoPro camera name?
I'm sorry?
What's the GoPro camera name again?
It's a Hero 5.
Hero 5?
Yes, the Hero 5 Black. They're pricey as can be. I think I think Fred's right, they're closer to $500. Now, GoPros come up with a lot of competition. The Polaroid Cube, there's some others. The Polaroid Cube is terribly small, it is a cube. The problem with the cube, again, is latency. So all of a sudden, you're flying your drone, you hit a house, but it doesn't show on your screen until 3 seconds later, okay? You already crashed. Well, here you'd be going through the side of your wall and go, oh, shoot, there's a latency problem. And you just don't want a latency problem.
That's what the shrink wrap's for, right?
Yeah. You can go back and replay
Say
it.
what you want, I know what's
Yeah. I hope I satisfied what you thought I'd do. Yes, sir.
Could you go back over, you draw the circle around your cutter, and then you have that piece of tape on there? I didn't quite understand that.
No, the tape is holding the screen in place, so that if I move my cutter and have to reposition it, now I've repositioned it to here, okay? Let me reposition the cutter. That's how we explain it. And it's going to depend on the curvature of your piece, where you're going to move your cutter to. And much of the time, I try to keep my cutter to the right, knowing that I'm cutting the other direction. Move this one. Didn't get me where I wanted to go. There we go. Okay, now, I want the same distance here to here, so that's my wall thickness, right?
From where to where?
From this outer edge here, where my black line is, let me draw another black line, I'll make the wall thickness thinner,
We're not
okay?
being able to see the black line because of the,
Let's make my wall thickness
well, you got, there's
here.
you need to put a white sheet of paper or something underneath it so we can see it.
That's my wall thickness, okay? So now I've moved my cutter. Now I'm gonna move,
Put the template right over your cutter.
I'm gonna move this to match, okay?
That way each time the wall thickness is.
So each time I move my camera, I've not changed my wall thickness.
So the outer arc there is, you keep that on the outside of your...
Do not go.
This is the outside edge of my piece, okay? So if I go in here, and you can see I made it that much smaller, okay? And let's just see what my thickness is there. It's pretty thin. See, that's probably about 1/16 of an inch. Okay? So as you move it, now my wall thickness stays the same. But that's why it's important to wrap your piece too, so that you don't start to get distortion as you're working on it. And when you do the top, okay, and you're doing this curvature, you want to do your final cut. And you can see I got a fairly smooth up here. When I start to do this, you never come back to this, okay? Just never come back. Your muscle memory's gone because you've changed your angle of approach, and you're going to thin this too much. Yeah, Jim?
Do you pretty much do that all in one shot then? Or
I'll do this section all at one time.
So there's no moving overnight or anything? 'Cause I've
Oh.
been into that. You sit overnight and come back at it.
I won't start to hollow until I've made the commitment to finish the inside, okay? Now, when I do a 25-inch piece, and I didn't really bring, oh yeah, I did. This piece, okay? Trust me, I did not do this in one setting, okay? So what you do with a piece like that, it starts out as a 60-pound log, okay? That's a full day's work for me, to take a 60-pound log and, I gotta close this, I'm out of battery. Hey, Joe. A 60-pound log, I've wrestled with it, I got it up on the lathe, it's consumed most of my lathe, I've got to round it, true it up, and then I start to shape it. I probably have 4 to 5 hours in just that process of from log to here. Now for an old guy, that's a day's work.
You're not older now.
I mean, I'm done at that point. I might even grab a Jack Daniels and go to bed, okay? And the next day, I set up my extra large hollow roller. That's the 70-pound bar, 6 foot long, okay? I am gonna have 4 to 5 hours of hollowing on this particular piece. This is the narrowest opening I've done, and this was a test before we took it to market to try and go through a smaller opening. That's probably, what, 2 inches, okay? if you can see it there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's probably right around 2 inches. Well, it's an 1.25 bar. So that meant I had to move my cutter angle all the time.
You don't withdraw when it's moving, do you?
It depends. And something this small of an opening, no. On something of this small, no.
Yeah.
On these two pieces, yeah, I probably do.
Yeah, the bigger one.
Yeah, it depends on the fit and when I go to extract the cutter. If it's this cutter, I probably do not, the teardrop, I leave the teardrop in, shut the thing off. I'm gonna rewire my lathe in the next week or so. This box here, take it out, get wiring for it, and then put it on a pedestal out here. So it's here in front of me all the time. It's a safety feature, plus it's ease of operation. Powermatic, I'd love to have them do it. We've talked about it several times at the show, but I guess there's a cost factor in there. Other questions?
Now, Ron, do you find that you have a problem with a small opening? I know when I do a smaller opening that's really close to my bar size and a bigger piece, my biggest problem is just getting all the shavings out of a bigger vessel like that through the smaller hole.
You're continuously blowing it out,
Right.
okay? You take, when this is on the lathe, this particular piece, and I'm hollowing here to here, okay? I'm hollowing up through here. All of my shavings from here are right here. And you'd be amazed, you see how fast I started hollowing that? This is just loaded up right now, okay? So you start to blow, you have to blow these out continuously. And you gotta turn the lathe off to do it. Centrifugal force will keep them in place. And if they're wet and you run into a wad of this stuff, if you're in a chuck, it's gonna throw you straight out of the chuck. So yeah, Ray, you continuously blow it out. And then it's a time when I blow everything off. I get everything out of here. I take it off the rollers, off the bar. I want everything clean and smooth and operational. Questions, comments?
Is there a way to procure this camera system now?
$100, you can take it home with you. I know, and you take me up on it. No, give me a little time to find out. Buying some directly out of China is about 30 days, okay, just in freight. And then finding a way to pay them that's trustworthy, that there is such a thing. So no, I'm not positive this is the camera, okay?
Yeah.
I still really like the drone camera. I'll bring that in next month so you can see the miniature system and the drone camera. The drone camera is about the size of a quarter. And the funny thing is, and we realized this after we started doing the math out in Tucson, these lenses are interchangeable from the drone camera to this. So we think they're coming out of the same place in China, okay?
What brand is a drone camera, do you know?
I don't, there's nothing on it, nothing.
Are they on eBay?
No, Alibaba.
Alibaba.
Yeah, Alibaba, and I had a hard time finding them there. Yes, I saw another question.
Right, is the shrink wrap, is that maybe things, where do you source that, or?
I'm sorry.
The shrink wrap that you do, where do you get that?
And they've got a Myers, Walmart, it's in the packaging department, and it comes in a little roll, you can just roll it around there.
Okay.
Yeah. Anytime you want to hold moisture in a piece, you can do that, and you pull it so tight, it stretches and holds. Yeah, Jeff.
Another one is that stretching seal.
Yes. Press and seal.
Not press and seal.
Press and seal. Press and seal, it works pretty good. This stuff just works. It really does.